You guys are back. We're all back. It's been like 2 months. How's it been 2 months? I can't believe it. I've been telling myself I was going to do this like every day this week, but just when you start thinking about everything that's happened and you're like, how am I going to sum this up? How am I going to remember things in order? But I've told a few people what has been going on lately, and I think I've told it enough times and botched it now that I can probably tell you guys in a way that makes sense because it's a little confusing. I do have good news, exciting news, good things. So I guess I'll start with last time I was on here, I told you that I had a cyst on my right ovary. So we were going to have to skip treatment that month, and so I was taking like a month break and wouldn't be back for a while. So about 4 weeks ago, I started my period, and I called the fertility clinic and went over there for my first ultrasound, my baseline ultrasound that we always do. And the good news was that my cyst had cleared up, so things were looking good. That was on a Monday that I went over there. And actually, no, I take it back. It was a Friday. I went over on a Friday, got the ultrasound, my cyst was cleared up. They sent me the prescription for letrozole like they always do to take for 5 days, and then they wanted me to come back 10 days later. I was feeling really hopeful, feeling good about it because the last cycle that it actually went well, the one before I got the cyst, but when my follicles had grown well and everything on the correct side, we had come back 10 days later that time too, and everything was like perfect timing. So they scheduled me for 10 days out. That first one for the baseline ultrasound, I had gone by myself. 10 days later, we went on a Monday, and Chris came with me this time. And we had booked a hotel room because we were feeling really confident that usually the process goes, we come back 10 days after the initial and they ultrasound, and then everything looks good theoretically. They give me the HCG injection that day, and then the following day we have to go back in and do intrauterine insemination. So we booked a hotel room for that 10th day, Monday, and we got there, did another ultrasound, and they said that, well, while they were looking in there, so I'm starting to recognize kind of what things look like. I'm starting to recognize when my ovaries look like they're supposed to look and follicles are growing, and when it's looking pretty quiet in there. So she checked the right side first. She didn't really say anything. To me, it was looking really small. So I made a comment about like, that doesn't look super promising or something like that. And she said, we're gonna check the left side, which in my head, I'm thinking, why, what's the point? The left side is the block side. So what does it matter if anything is developing over there? But nevertheless, she checks the left side, and it looks about the same as the right side, I guess. And she didn't really say that at the time. When she looked at the left side, she said, yeah, there are some small follicles there that I see, but nothing's ready yet. So it was a pretty short appointment. Chris and I left feeling pretty discouraged because, as I'd said, it was the 10th day, and the last time we had done that, it had been perfect timing. I was on the same dose of letrozole, so you'd think it would go well. And we had taken those 2 days off of work. We were there that Monday, and we had taken off Monday and Tuesday to spend the night to hopefully get IUI on Tuesday. So I was really upset. I was crying a lot because nothing was going to happen the next day, obviously. They had told us, we want to see you again on Wednesday or Thursday to see if your follicles have grown. So it was frustrating because we had a non-refundable hotel room. We had to think about whether we wanted to keep our days off and just stay, or whether we wanted to go back home. Because if we were coming back Wednesday and Thursday, we would possibly be missing an entire work week. We only work Monday through Thursday. We don't work on Fridays. So if we did follow through with the hotel we'd gotten, we'd be staying there Monday night into Tuesday, and then we would just have to come back again on Wednesday. So we thought about, should we just extend to another night? Should we call and try to cancel and see what we can do? We ended up just bailing. We just left. We did think about staying and just saying, screw it, let's just have a night in Reno and have fun. But we ended up just coming back home. We did eat the cost of the hotel room. It's not like that's a huge loss, but it is disappointing. So we came home. We showed up to work the next day on Tuesday morning. We had scheduled an appointment with the fertility clinic for, I think, Wednesday. So we were thinking we're only going to be at work on Tuesday, and then we'll have to go back Wednesday and have a hotel room that night again and stay till Thursday. So we show up at work Tuesday morning, and everyone's like, what's going on? Why are you here? We thought you were going to be gone. And we tell them that things didn't work out. It looks like we're actually going to have to be there Wednesday and Thursday now. So Tuesday's going to be our only day at work. Tuesday morning, right after I show up at work, and we tell everybody that, we're here that day after all, I get a call from the fertility clinic, and the medical assistant says, well, the doctor has an alternative idea for you. He wants to give you an FSH injection. So I don't know how much you guys know about these drugs, hormones. So FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, the follicles a follicle holds an egg, they develop and mature, they burst open, release the egg. So follicle stimulating hormone is what kind of stimulates that follicle to mature and grow to get ready to release the egg. The letrozole that I take typically at the very beginning of my cycle is to stimulate the follicle stimulating hormone. So it's not actually follicle stimulating hormone, it's just telling it to start working. So they wanted to, instead of stimulating my follicle stimulating hormone, come back in and actually get an injection of follicle stimulating hormone itself to hopefully speed up my follicles, since they were still looking kind of small. So she asked me if we could come in that day, Tuesday. She said you could possibly come in Wednesday, but it would be best if you could just come in today. I started crying again because we had just left the night before on Monday, came all the way back home, ditched our hotel room. If we had decided to stay, we would have still been there. But ironically, of course, we came back. So I was just tired. We had driven there and back all on Monday. Tuesday, we talked about it for a little bit, and we kind of decided, well, this is what we have to do. So Chris was very encouraging. He is amazing. He's the best. He was very calm about it. And our work, as usual, amazing. They're so supportive. They're always like, just go, do what you have to do. So we decided to go back on Tuesday. So we drove all the way back. The medical assistant, when we got there, came out the door to the waiting room. She had a syringe in hand, and she said, here you go. She said, we charge an injection fee, and if you're comfortable doing this yourself, then you could save money on the injection fee. Is that something that you're willing to do? And I said, yes, I can handle that. But I kind of wanted to keep her there. I had some questions because that morning I had started feeling like I was about to ovulate. I can usually tell pretty well when it's about to happen, just by body changes. So I was kind of feeling confused about what was going on, because the previous day they had said my follicles were pretty small. So I was like, how am I feeling like I'm about to ovulate the day after that? So I asked her if there's any way we could talk for a minute rather than just taking the syringe and leaving. She said, yeah, of course, let's go back and I'll bring a nurse in. We can get your questions answered. So we sat in an office, talked to a nurse that we've seen before. I told her, you know, I'm feeling like I'm about to ovulate and I don't know what the deal is. And I'm also wondering, when the midwife was doing my ultrasound the day before, she had sounded like maybe nothing was really happening in my right side. She didn't really indicate either way. So I'm asking the nurse, you know, is this even worth it to do this injection? Because I can't tell if she thought that, you know, the left side was going to be ovulating or if the right side was going to be. So the nurse said, let me just go take another look at the images again and see if I can see anything more than what she told you. So she took a look, came back in, and she said, yeah, they are looking like they're both developing. They are looking like they're both pretty much exactly the same size. And the way that it usually works is at some point, one side will take over and start developing more, and the other side will just kind of quit. So she said, we can't really tell right now what's going on because they're the same size. So one hasn't taken over. I asked her, you know, what's your honest opinion? What would you do in this situation? Would you take the FSH injection, or I don't know, just what do you think? And she said, I think it's a good idea. I would be surprised if you came back on Thursday. They had wanted us to come back Thursday. So do the FSH injection Tuesday, come back Thursday, do another ultrasound to check, hopefully get the HCG injection that day, and then Friday do IUI. So we were going to end up getting a hotel room on Thursday this time. I know this is so confusing. I hope you're following. I'm sorry. So she said, it's Tuesday now. I would honestly be surprised if your follicles were ready by Thursday even. So I'd say you're probably pretty safe, but the only way to tell is if you'd like to do another ultrasound. If you feel like you're about to ovulate, we can check again and see if that is true, if one of your ovaries is, you know, changing significantly. So we tossed that around because each ultrasound is like $250. So it's like, do we want to spend money to do an ultrasound again today when we just did one yesterday and see if what I'm feeling like is in fact true? I ended up feeling like, what if we come back in 2 days on Thursday and I've already missed it and I was right, and it fails? So, you know, we had come all that way. I was like, screw it. Let's just do another ultrasound and double check. I think it's just going to give me some peace of mind. So we did another ultrasound. Turns out she said that my left side had matured significantly. So that's the blocked side. So my feeling was right. And she said, you are probably correct in feeling like you're about to ovulate because it looks like you might very soon. So I'm very glad that I kind of went with my gut and decided to do another ultrasound. And at that point, we went back in the office to talk to her, and I told her, you know, I was feeling like maybe 80% sure after Monday's shenanigans of nothing really growing that I wanted to just skip all this and start IVF. Now I'm feeling even more sure that I just want to skip to IVF because this was our 4th time trying to do intrauterine insemination. And if you remember what I said a while ago, they told me that they like to do 4 successful rounds. So actually giving me the meds, having the follicles grow, and then doing the HCG stimulation shot and then actually doing the insemination. So that would be a like complete attempt at IUI. They said they like to do that 4 times before they start IVF. And I said, well, this is our 4th time trying to do this, and we've only successfully done that 1 time. So, I mean, this could take a year or more. And she said, yeah, it can. That does happen sometimes. And I said, I also feel like, 3 out of the 4 times that we've done this, the left side has matured and the right side hasn't. So is it possible that my left side is just dominant, ironically, my blocked side? And she said, yeah, that's absolutely possible. Sometimes people do have a dominant side. So at that point, I was like, I'm done. I just want to do IVF. Like, I think that the money is a little bit stressful, but it's not worth my sanity. And like I've said before, people could do this. People do this for years. They go on and on trying to do these things and they don't have money for it and they want to save. And eventually you hit 45 and it's like, I guess that's it for me. It's not going to happen. So I think I'd be more willing to give this more of a shot if I already had a child, which is what I told her, and knew that I could get pregnant and could have a child. But as it is, I just feel like I'm risking it too much and I want to just jump ahead. So we decided at that point, we'll just do IVF. We told her that. She got us all set up, scheduled for a financial consultation that they do, which is a phone call. Luckily, we didn't have to go there. And then also a phone call, a separate appointment with the doctor to talk about the plan and how this would all go down. So we had our financial consult about a week ago. It was pretty much as expected, nothing too shocking. We knew generally about what the cost would be. And then we had a few days ago, today's Saturday, it's Saturday night right now, and we had our consult with the doctor, I think this last Wednesday, so just a few days ago. That went really well. He was very encouraging. He said, I think this is a great idea. He said, especially with your left tube being blocked, and your right tube is open, but it's not like wide open. It was slightly blocked. So he said, there's reason to believe that the intrauterine insemination could work. But I see where you guys are coming from, and I think it's completely reasonable to skip ahead to IVF. So, and I did ask him again because I really wasn't sure what happened with the bicornuate uterus situation and if that was a true thing. And I told him that I felt like I'd asked him some decent questions after surgery, but I was anesthetized, so I don't remember a lot of what he said to me. But I do remember him saying something like, your uterus is more heart-shaped, so just has like, kind of on the top, it's like, dented in a little bit. And I said, is that true? Am I remembering things correctly? He said, yeah, it's pretty open in there. It's just a little bit heart-shaped and it's mostly open. So, so I found that out. So my uterus sounds like it's pretty okay, and my hormones have always been all balanced. So I think that we are going to find out more in an upcoming appointment. Today is Saturday, the day before Super Bowl Sunday, and next, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, we have a phone call appointment with the IVF coordinator nurse. They told us that everything is going to be very planned out ahead of time, so not as last minute as we've been doing with IUI, which is exhausting. So we should be able to plan better and know exactly what's happening. I'm going to have to give you guys more on that later because I don't even fully understand the process yet, but I do know they batch their cycles and they get like rather than ordering supplies, getting supplies, and doing the whole process every single month, they do it every other month, and then they put everyone in that's getting it done in those every other month time slots. So they were set to do it in March, and so we were kind of like, are we going to make it to March? If we don't, we would have to wait until May to do it, but the doctor said, no, you'll be fine, you'll make it to the March cycle. So all of this should really start around, I think he said March 20th-ish, which is just a few days before my birthday. So that's what's going on right now. And other than that, I've been doing kind of some weird hippie things. I've been taking some serapeptase. It's something I heard about on the internet, which is not very smart, doesn't sound very smart, but apparently it is something that is made by silkworms, and it digests like dead protein, like unneeded old protein. So people use it for clearing out their arteries. They use it for clearing scar tissue. A lot of women are swearing by it. They're taking high doses of it, and they're saying that their tubes were blocked, and then magically they become unblocked. So, you know, in the past, I probably would have said, this is crazy, this is ridiculous, because I usually look at things from a pretty scientific standpoint, but I do really like to incorporate some holistic approach, and I definitely am into herbal medicine. So I figured, why not? What's it gonna do? It's not gonna make it any worse than it is right now. So I've been taking that. I have no idea if that's doing anything. And then I also scoured the internet for, I had heard that they can do massage on your abdomen to try to open up your tubes. And I guess that one actually is legit. There are studies that show that that really can open things up for you. And usually places that do like fertility abdominal massage go hand in hand with acupuncture and Chinese herbal remedies. So I found an acupuncture place that does all three of those things, and I have an appointment in early March. So I did mention that to the IVF nurse. She was like, how much money are you putting into that, and how much are you banking on it? And I was like, not enough that it's going to cause any problems for me. And at this point, you know, why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. So I'm going to go get some acupuncture for the first time in my life. I'm a little bit freaked out by that. But I am a little bit morbid in the sense that I like to experiment and try things. Like I said, I was curious about anesthesia and surgery. So this will just be like another, you know, put some needles in me. Let's see what happens. So we'll see what they say to me there. And then my therapist told me, that's always a fun start of a sentence, that I should think about maybe turning my guest bedroom into a nursery. Even if we end up moving away from here before any of this ever happens, she said, you know, it could be therapeutic for you. I could see it going both ways. I could see it being depressing. But she did raise a good point. Like, you know, it can get you in nesting mode. It can lift up your positive vibes and make you feel hopeful. And I've been slowly collecting little things for baby nursery stuff over time, like special little things that are meaningful to me, either things from my childhood or just different little things from Etsy and stuff like that. So she said, you know, that stuff is sitting out in boxes in the garage. It's depressing and cold out there. Bring it inside, set it up. So I really am thinking about doing that. I probably will at some point. I mean, why not? Like I said to everything else, I don't think it can get any worse. So if I do that, I will show you guys the room that I'm working with beforehand, and then probably do some kind of little tour of what I've collected so far for baby stuff. So that's everything that's happening. That was a lot. I feel like I was talking kind of fast, but I'm almost at 25 minutes because there's been a lot going on. I will update you guys as soon as we have that appointment with the nurse and I figure out more of what's going on. I know that we have to sign some paperwork online, and there are some like online training portals, and I know that I'm going to have to do injectable meds at some point for maybe like 10 days in a row, so that'll be interesting. I don't know a whole lot about it, so I will be back when I do, and thanks for coming back and following along with me.